All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. This is a special edition. I sometimes periodically like to do these conversations because I like to just talk. Let's just have an informal meeting and let's just talk about what's going on in the Black nurse world, right? So
Yeah.
today I have with me Sandra Cleveland. I've invited a couple other people, so they may jump in on the conversation here in a little bit. But I wanted to come to you guys because I feel like we have a hot new app that's out on the market, and I want to discuss it because in my couple of days and weeks of being on it, I've noticed some really important things that I think you guys need to be aware of from a business standpoint. So we're just going to have an informal conversation about this. And if anybody utilizes it and is interested in jumping in on this conversation, I have an invite link, and either inbox me or put it in the comments, and I'll be more than happy to let you jump in with us. So we'll get started. I have my good friend Sandra Cleveland here with us. Sandra, tell them a
Hey,
little bit about you.
hey, everybody. First of all, thank you for inviting me. I love this. I was just actually literally on Clubhouse right now. So that's why I was laughing when I was like, oh, okay, let me get my little fix off and come back over this way. I am a entrepreneur. And so I'm also an app developer. So the irony of us talking about apps right now and what's going on in this world is really cool. So super excited to hear what everybody's got going on in their world and how they think it can apply into this Clubhouse world.
Okay. So here's
Yeah.
the thing. A couple of weeks ago, I remember Amelia had posted in her group about this new app, and the app is pretty much all audio, which is good
Yes.
for people like me who don't want to get made up every day.
Right.
But the beauty of it is it's audio, and we are able to have very, very involved, in-depth conversations with everyday people, but also
Yes.
with influencers. And
Yes.
so I think that's one of the beauties of it that I've seen. I've been in rooms where there are people who are government contract gurus, six, seven, eight-figure income earners, people who have been in the banking world, the finance world, funding, you name it. I've been in all different types of
Oh,
rooms.
yeah.
And there are
Definitely.
some rooms that are very casual, just casual conversations. But the rooms that I have thoroughly enjoyed are the ones that really talk about business. And something that I've noticed is there are a lot of Black people, and there are a lot of Black
Yes.
educated, prosperous people having these conversations. And so what is your take on it? What do you think thus far?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I've only been on for just a few weeks now. So the magic of seeing Black and Brown all through the rooms is just, it's phenomenal. The influencers who are there, I just had an opportunity, like yesterday, I was on stage with Les Brown. So
Hmm.
legends, for instance, and just having an opportunity to go on stage and speak with individuals and hear their takes and the advice that they share with individuals for business, for marketing, for mindset, for life in general, it's priceless.
Yes, I was actually in a room with Les Brown as well. And
Mhm.
to give the audience, maybe those who are not on it yet,
Yeah.
to give you an idea of what it means. So there are these rooms, and you can pop in and out of the rooms. It kind of
Yep.
gives you a little bit of a podcast webinar feel.
Yep.
So you can pop into the room and you can be in the back scenes and not say anything, or you have the opportunity to come forth to the stage. And so the unique part about that is if they bring you up on the stage, whoever's running the room or the moderator, if they invite you to come up on the stage, then you're free to have kind of a general casual conversation with that influencer or that individual that's up there. And another part of it that I really like is the networking that's going on. What do you think?
Absolutely. I think the networking, especially I think the introverts in us, some of us are introverts and have that difficult time networking at points in time. But having this as an audio based component where everybody honestly has the opportunity to get to the main table or hear the takes from these individuals and connect with these individuals is really cool to see. So even if you don't necessarily want to say anything while you're in the room and hearing the influence from those up on the stage at that point in time. You still have an avenue that you can connect behind the scenes with them as well. So within Clubhouse, for those who aren't familiar with it, part of the connections that you can make is definitely while you're in the room, but it's in the room and beyond. And so what I mean by that is really you can have your social media links connected as well. And so when I, for instance, want to become a friend or be connected with Alviana, for instance, so I would be able to click on her profile and connect via that way. And so we are seeing a lot of live actions happening in the room. Like it's like the old school golf course where folks would meet on the golf course and make those deals. That's what I compare it to now. But everybody gets that opportunity to see who they can create their network. It's really powerful.
It is. It is. Amelia just popped up, so I'm going to bring her on into the conversation here. Let's add her to the stream. Well, hello, hello, hello. Hi,
Hey
sister.
there. How are
You?
you?
Oh, doing good. We just got started here. I kind of gave my opinion of Clubhouse, and Sandra has as well. And so Amelia is like our Clubhouse guru. So
Yes.
I'm going to let her. I'm going to let you. I've explained the general concept of it, but I'm going to let you go ahead and give your thoughts about it.
Awesome. So, guru for an app that's new and in beta and breaks sometimes for whatever that means. So thank you. I'll accept that. But long story short, it's kind of cool that, I mean, as I mentioned, it reminds me a lot of the early days of Periscope, right? And Facebook, where, organic reach was organic reach. You could, reach a lot of people and, get a lot of people who don't know who you are, happen upon and join and, blah, blah, blah. So long story short, what I like about it is that the whole degrees of separation or the whole degrees that prevent you from meeting someone else is sort of gone. Yeah. Like I was just in a room with like Cliff Ravenscraft, who is very well known in particular fields. He got a little woo, so I left the room, full transparency. But, long story short, that wouldn't have happened. There was a welcome room that starts off. It said welcome less. And I was like, I wonder who this is. And so I like to go to welcome rooms because sometimes you'll happen upon very interesting people there who are coming onto the platform. And it was for Les Brown. I was like, wow, I'm in the same room with Les Brown. And so I followed him. So next time he was speaking about something, I got a notification and I was like listening to him and taking notes on, what he was saying about storytelling and all of this. I would have had to pay good money otherwise to be in the same room with him. So it really likes how it is sort of shortening proximity. What I like about it as well, what I like about it is that you get followers based on the value that you bring to the room, which I am down for that. It is not based on, how nice your eyebrows happen to look today. Don't look too closely. Let me move around.
I know, right?
But it's not based on that. It's not based on pictures. It's based on your voice. Like, are you adding value? Are people benefiting? And if they are, they will follow you. So because of that, it's kind of interesting. You got these people who have these huge social media platforms and followings on other platforms, but on Clubhouse, they might have 20, 50 followers. Only because, not because they're not prolific or anything, only because, they're busy, they're doing other things, but people aren't hearing their voice. So on that particular platform where, their social media manager can't post for them and their content strategist can't create an amazing strategy for them, where they themselves have to speak and give their voice, they have what they have there. And, other places, you can learn more about what they do. I mean, I could keep going on and on. But as far as we're in the group for business. So let's talk about that. Like how are we using it for business? So funny enough, I have a friend, Dante Lee, he owns Black PR. And I said, hey, Dante, I got a ticket for Clubhouse. You want to join? And he was like, no. He was like, no. He was like, it's too trendy. He's like, there's too trendy. It's too much, rah, rah. And he's not for that, which is interesting. But just because there's a lot of, there's a lot of people clamoring and stuff. He's like, no, not right now. That's cool. So that's a choice that he makes. I mean, his business isn't suffering because of it. On the other side, there are people who joined and they're having conversations about their topic of expertise. They are being savvy with their calls to action. They're inviting people to continue the conversation over on Instagram. They're inviting people to click the link on their Instagram bio that will take them to blah, blah, blah. They're asking people to directly ask them if they have questions, and they are getting sales calls. And I'm sorry to say it, but the quickest path to cash is talking to humans. And that's just the facts of it. In fact, I did a room about how to outsource sales. It was a series. It was the name of the room was the name of a club that I want to have there. I applied for it, but they want to see that you're regular and show up and do stuff. So the room was called Skill with Sanity, How to Outsource Sales. And in that, I why am I talking about this? Long story short, you have to talk to people in order to get cash. A lot of these, and I don't want to get off on tangents, but a lot of these coaches that we follow that popularize marketing made, no, I shouldn't say marketing made easy because that's very specific. Not her. I don't know about her, but there are different coaches that talk about online courses and digital products and this and that. And they have sales coaches on their enrollment teams to enroll into their high-end products. But they make it seem like if you have a course, people will buy, but they actually have like a staff of 13 enrollment coaches who sell people into their products. But I digress. Another cool thing is that, I could show up as I am. It's just your voice that's needed, right? It's just your voice. So all of these issues that we have, especially as Black women, I don't want to get too deep into that, but as Black women, we have issues about our appearance, stemming back from not being able to find baby dolls that look like us in the toy store. So we have issues about what's how we should look, and and stories our parents told us about you want to go out like that, looking like that, just stuff. And so we are not comfortable with showing up on camera, specifically. And also showing up for ourselves in various ways. But long story short, it's your voice.
Yeah, it's just your voice.
It's just your voice. So I think that's like all I like to end on is that it's just your voice. And because it's so new, if you see that there's someone not talking about something, a few people in their Clubhouse during the community or the town halls, because it's so new, they have regular town halls where they talk about what the founders are thinking about and their plans for the app and blah, blah, blah. And the founders actually attend these town halls because it's so new still. So they're like literally listening, and this is another cool thing. But in those town halls, I forgot what I was saying. Sorry, why I was talking about that. Oh, so people say, I'm looking for a club around blah, blah, blah. How can I find it? Or I haven't found anyone who does a club around this. Their stock answer is it's because we're waiting for you to make the club.
Yep.
Or we're waiting for you to make that room. And that's like legit the thing. It's like, if you're not seeing someone talking about nurse entrepreneurship today, well, guess what? That's because they're waiting for you to create that room and have that conversation. So that's another cool thing. But that goes back to it being early and, it's, and also with the handles that you can get, it reminds me of early internet days. I had friends, again, Dante was one of those folks who would buy and flip URLs, and he could buy stuff like the Cosby Show and Dove and whatnot. But not that he bought those, but just giving you an example of stuff that he was buying and flipping. And now it's like the same thing with like handles. I know somebody who has a handle of business coach. I know someone who has a handle of copywriter. So that's the other thing, it's just how you can claim, your own platform if you wish to.
I think it's so unique. Initially, I was like, oh, I don't know if I can do a whole nother social media thing because I'm so busy with all these other ones. But I've listened to some of the messages that you put in your own community about it. And I reached out to you. I was like, hey, I changed my mind. And Sandra's the one that brought me in She was like, hey, I got an invite. You want to come in? And I was like, I don't know. And then after I talked to Amelia, I was like, so Sandra, do you still have that invite available? Because I think I do want to do this. And so and one thing I love is I have enjoyed seeing the Black nurses. There are a lot of Black nurses that are there already. The way it is right now, you would think that it's just a Black platform. It's not just a Black platform. I'm in rooms with other races, but the Black presence is huge right now.
Yes.
And the Black educated, prosperous presence is very big. And so, like Amelia said, you would ordinarily have to pay very good money to hear some of these industry secrets or industry processes, or you'd have to talk to this person to get to that person to get to that influencer. Whereas here, you're literally right there on the stage with that person. And I was in a room with Les Brown. I've been in a room with Country Wayne, and there's so many different people. Yeah, I mean, it expands the extreme of it, but you get an idea, a sense of who they are a little bit more intimately, without all the flash and the lights and the camera and all of this. We have to look a certain way and talk a certain way. You get a sense of that, but because it's new, you have the ability to really get in there, grab your niche and run with it, and really connect with your audience of people. And like Sandra was saying, I love the fact that so many of the rooms that I'm in, they say they're so welcoming, like, hey, connect with me, follow me here, email me there, inbox me here or whatever. And this is a bigwig, a CEO of some major company. And you're like, he just told me to inbox him. This is great, And ordinarily you wouldn't have that opportunity. Yeah. So it's just really, why didn't we come up with this concept? I keep missing out on these good concepts. I tell you.
I know. I mean,
another one I missed out on.
But no, I mean, like anything, you could, use it for your own, your own. I mean, who eventually, who actually came up with the nuts and bolts of it? It really doesn't matter. It's like you think of people who are killing it on Instagram. Are they like upset that they didn't invent Instagram? No, they're just, taking it to the bank. But what was so interesting too, I think, with this is the timing of it all, right? It's like, again, if this came in, February of 2020, being able to talk to someone voice to voice, real time, that is like super novel these days, right? Being able to have like real time conversation and get feedback and, talk and hear someone else's voice. I mean, that's amazing. And, of course, people aren't necessarily flying around, and I've said this before, but people aren't flying around the country like they had been before. So these people who are, typically hard to reach, jet setting across the world in these meetings, they're a little bit more available. We all are in a way, but they're a little bit more available. They're humans too. They're people. They're wanting, more interaction. And here's this app that just puts people that they wouldn't have come across anyway, literally in there. So it's like, yeah, it's really, but like anything, it's, up to, how you're leveraging it. What is your goal? What are your objectives? And like any tool, it's just, I was just talking to my own about this, about me needing to get my plan in place, full transparency. Like me needing to do a better job of giving people a call to action to continue the relationship. Like just now, I switched my Instagram link. If you follow me on Instagram, it's I just changed that handle. It's at talk2 Amelia. If you go there and click the link in the bio, I just have I use Linktree, but I just have a thing that says Clubhouse notes. So like after I do a Clubhouse thing, I'm going to say like, hey, and if you want these notes, just go to the link in my bio. And I got that idea from, I think, Rohan. He did something and he was like, yeah, check the link in my bio. And I clicked on it, think it was going to be something fancy. It was a link to a Google Doc. But it's cool. It's cool. It works. It was a link.
The information is there.
Right.
Yeah. Right. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
And so Sandra, I want to know, have you started pursuing, like, have you had any rooms yourself?
No, I haven't yet. And so that's the next thing I plan to do right now. So Miss Amelia, and actually I'm going to be reaching out to her to connect on that. But
Yeah.
that is definitely something that you want to pay attention to, is not just having your voice involved in other folks' worlds, which is totally fine. That's a way to kind of get yourself acclimated to the culture of Clubhouse. But then how do you start creating your voice and creating your platform in there as well? And so bringing, one of the pieces of advice I definitely would bring everybody to the table with is actually bring yourself to the table. We've been silenced as Black women in so many avenues for so long that sometimes we almost put ourselves in that position because we're anticipating that to be
We're
part of it.
conditioned to do that. Yes.
Right. And so in this situation where you are actually allowed, per se, and I loosely put that, but you are able and free to move about and to share your expertise. I really encourage that you do that. And the other thing I encourage is, Amelia and Alviana both mentioned, when you're moving around in rooms, even though it's great to see that there are a ton of nurses up in our space, there are a ton of other industries that need nurses.
Yes.
And so, for instance, I was in a room with creatives. I was in a room with actually today with comedians. And so a number of comedians that you've heard for years were all there talking, and they were talking about stress and what they are experiencing in their worlds right now. And all I kept thinking is, there is so many, if there's somebody here who is looking at health and wellness, there is a niche for you right here. So those opportunities to see how you align with what's going on in their worlds is really important to see that right now.
Yeah.
Who would have ever thought serving comedians as a niche?
Right.
I never would have. And there are a ton of them out there. Oh my goodness. So,
but you think about it, there's a number of creatives, like a number of rooms right now, and they have essentially lost their platform. And so they are all looking to figure out a way to regain their platform and trying to stay sane in the process of regaining that platform. So how can we help them in that transition as nurses? And how can we then serve them while they are in that transition? Because we bring a number of strengths from our standpoints to help them along on their journey.
Absolutely. Golly, it's phenomenal and exactly what you're saying. And I think about all of the different types of niches just within our B&E community. We're about to kill this. We really are. We really are, because so many of us are experts in our own little way, and that it's so new, so it's open. It's so open. Like you can hop in there and just create your own voice, your own presence there, and run with it and own it. I think it's important to have a conversation about how to get on, because it is a little bit trickier than just downloading an app. So initially, that's what I was thinking. I have a Samsung phone, but I do have an iPad. So initially, I downloaded a Clubhouse app on my Samsung, and I was like, "Okay, Sandra, I'm ready." And so she sent it, and when she sent it, I was like, okay, this is not working. I can't get the two to connect. Like I don't understand what's going on." So the problem, and not necessarily a problem, but the thing about it is right now the app has only been built out for iOS. So you have to have an Apple product right now in order to enjoy the app. However, I was in one of their newbie Clubhouse rooms, and it was with one of the founders who was discussing how they're getting ready to try to build out the Android app. So those that do have Android, I don't want to discourage you from not listening into the conversations. If you start seeing people talking about Clubhouse, I need you to still pay attention, because as soon as the app is ready, I want you guys to be able to jump in. Now, the second part about that is, how do you actually get on it if you do have an Apple product? You have to be A, invited, or B, you get on the waiting list. The thing about the waiting list is their waiting list is so popular so quick that their waiting lists tend to be lengthy. So the easiest, quickest way to get into it is by getting an invite from somebody that you know that's already there. The more that person is interacting in different rooms or in their own Clubhouse or whatever, they get more and more invites. So I actually got 2 invites released to me, and I was like, hey, I got invites. You ready? Come on in. So it's just, as soon as I get more invites, I'll be trying to get more and more of the Black nurse entrepreneur world in it, because I believe in just what type of power we have. And, my thing is, I always feel like Black nurses should be at the forefront of decision making, period. And when we think about the environment that we're in right now, as far as COVID is concerned, stress, mental health, all of those types of things are going on right now. We should be leading those conversations. I was in a room earlier today, and it was about the COVID vaccination, I believe. And there was a pharmacist in there leading the conversation. That's good and all, but I'm not a pharmacist. I'm a nurse. So I think you need to hear from the nurses as well, right? I'm not being disrespectful, because what he had to say was very valid, but that pharmacist has not been one-on-one at the bedside with the patient like we have. Totally different perspective. And so, again, that's the beauty of being on this app. So just as soon as I get more invites, I'll be inviting people onto it, and I encourage you ladies to do so as well. But it's really a really simple, but a very unique and powerful concept.
Yeah, and they were saying at one of those community meetings that the reason why the rollout has been what it is because part of their Clubhouse culture has been to, when somebody new joins, is to give them a welcome party. A welcome party is when you take somebody and show them around Clubhouse. You give them rules about etiquette, and simply the rules of Clubhouse is the same rules that apply to being a good dinner party guest apply at Clubhouse. Yes. You might want to sit back and listen and, read the room. Oh my goodness, read the room before you raise your hand and get up on stage and say stuff. And, if after you said your thing, move yourself back to the audience, or don't be offended if the person, on stage moves you back to the audience. But just that was the culture of, bringing people in, giving them welcome parties, showing them how to find rooms that would be interesting to them, showing them how to start their own room, showing them how to moderate. That initially was the core of the culture. Initially, that's what they wanted. Long story short, that didn't happen to me. I didn't get like a full drawn out welcome party when I joined. And that's okay. I kind of got in because I guess I was like, I don't want to say waved in, but I happened to be in the phone of somebody who joined. And when I put in my application, they got a notification that says, hey, Amelia wants to join. And they clicked, join. And so, and in fact, for the first time, I've been there for a few weeks, I got that same notification on my iPad. I don't have an iPhone, but on my iPad, it said so-and-so is on the waiting list. In fact, they had reached out to me, said, hey, you know what? I want to join. What do I do? And I said, I downloaded the app. I signed up for username, downloaded the app, and then I checked back and I was in. And so that's what she did like some time ago. But just today, I got a notification that says, hey, Elle, it's like, did you want to bring her in without using your credits? And I was like, sure. What's it to, why not? So I think that's a part of the other thing. It's like, why is it so slow? Well, they really had wanted it so that you bring in people, you orient them to the space, and then they too start opening rooms and having great conversation and adding value. And so when I first joined, I got a good number of invites because they asked for my Twitter handle. And so when I connected that, I got like 5 invites. And then and so I gave those out, and I started an invite train in my own community, Confident Collaborations Facebook group. But I started an invite chain there, and the train got kind of hooked up at a couple, and I used some more long story short, I don't have any more invites, but because of the people that I did help in, I gave the people that I directly invited orientations, and they felt comfortable to opening up their own rooms. Because that happened, Clubhouse said, you know what, this Amelia person, the people that she invite tend to add value. They're opening up rooms. They're becoming moderators. Let me give her 3 more invites. Wow. So within my first week, 8 invites, but it was because I was opening rooms myself. I was having conversations, and the people I invited and they wanted to reward that in some way. So that's another suggestion that I want to give you guys is, start your own room, be active, join conversations, do a co-moderator. I mean, you do that. We're due. Dr. Cleveland, also, happy to co-host the room with you and do that. But yeah, that's another thing is like they really didn't want like a mass people joining and then not really being able to figure out stuff and just doing crazy stuff. And that's the other thing is that, you are forever linked to the person that you invite. so that if there have been stories of people doing absolutely horrible, crazy, awful stuff, getting
Really?
kicked off the app,
Mm-hmm.
and so does the person that invited them on the app.
Oh,
They're like, yeah, we don't want you to bring any more crazies in. I shouldn't say that, but you know what I'm saying? I shouldn't say that. I don't mean that. But we don't want you to bring any more, people that might disrupt things into the environment. So let's not have you either. So definitely be considerate about, folks that you're inviting to come in.
Okay, so you don't have to worry, Sandra. I'm not going to do anything crazy, okay?
No, because I'm watching out for you. I don't know, I tell you.
You don't have to worry about me doing anything crazy. That is interesting, though. I'm curious, Sandra, have you utilized it at all, or what are your thoughts from an academia standpoint?
Actually, that is a great avenue, I think, from academia. And I think even more so in terms of those who are looking to join academia or students who are looking to connect for mentors.
Mhm.
So I think that is a definite avenue from that standpoint. I run a group called Black Nurses in Academia. And so that's that group. If you're listening to us as well, we'll be running a train related to that as well to invite you to this opportunity as well, because I think that voices are coming in terms of frontline workers, no matter where they are at,
Mhm.
have some influence in terms of what's going on out there. And with academia, we tend to get a lot of the research kind of forehand, like early on, that we can share that information with others. And I think that's a great avenue for us to be able to do that. So yeah, in terms of academia, in terms of my other world is kind of tech based as well. So listening from that avenue, in terms of Clubhouse, specifically in terms of the things that they're updating with, as well as other things that they may be collaborating with in the future, and how to make this better, how to help folks really engage in this environment and feel comfortable in this environment. I think it's going to be really interesting to see down this line.
Mhm. It's good that we are getting in so early on. I commend Amelia for saying that because I don't know at what point I got in on Periscope, and there's people within our B&E community that I met on Periscope, and I was like, hey, come join me over here. But a lot of us, I don't know how many of us are really truly aware, but there are some very successful people that came from the Periscope world. I don't think that it's quite as popular as it used to be, but it made its mark, at one point in time. And there was a lot of people that made a lot of just connections and money, resources, you name it. They took advantage of that Periscope. So same thing here, just like you said, Amelia, that hey, take advantage of it because it is such a unique, organic way to connect with people.
Mm-hmm. And what I like about this platform too, which is interesting. So there's this person who I don't want to say made it on Periscope, but they, I guess, made it on Periscope, super popular, have a huge following because of that community. And, they're able to transfer that community over to Facebook and Instagram, build up huge following, and they're multi-million. In any case, I saw them on Clubhouse, and they were doing like a webinar style presentation, like on Clubhouse, like straight up webinar style presentation. No Q&A, no conversation back and forth. And long story short, that's like Clubhouse is like not necessarily, Dr. Cleveland is like, it's like that's not this platform. And so I was like, oh, that's so interesting. And I guess, so that's something I want to tell you guys, if you are thinking about joining, and if you have this great presentation that has killed it, before, this is more so a conversational type of platform. Yes, absolutely. If you're talking about a subject that people may not be familiar with, I think, goodness, I'm in an SEO. Well, it just wrapped up, but I was in an SEO class, and she was saying, do like 10 to 20 minutes, education around a topic, and then open it to Q&A. Don't just talk at people, but definitely it's a conversational platform.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Definitely.
And
I agree.
a very minute point. that folks, when you are in a room, you have permission to leave a room and explore. And so there are opportunities in Clubhouse to go into different spaces and explore. And I equate it to being in church and putting your finger up and leaving the room. You have literally a little button that allows you to do that. And that is accepted. It's okay to be able to explore and look at those different rooms. So just FYI.
And that's also cool too. It's like and so if you and you don't feel trapped, because it's like expected. It's fine. It's like it's like you leave, see what else is going on, go in the other rooms, and you might come back, because that might be, you might come back, but that's also something to know. And also, when you're moderating and people leave, it's okay. They're just checking out other stuff, and so it's very I don't know what word to call it, but it's very relaxed, I guess.
Yeah.
It's informal. It's an informal, conversational, very just come in, sit down. It reminds me of like when you're at a conference and you have the little breakout rooms and you go and you sit and listen and you may talk back and forth with the person. And you're like, okay, I've had enough. And so you go to the next room and then you go over here and look at the vendors and stuff like that. It's just all audio. And the ability to connect with really, really high, powerful people is a little bit more prevalent, I guess you would say. But I mean, like Pat Flynn is on there. I mean, I'm following him now. Like, hey, Pat, how you doing? Do you know me? And different people. And, I bring up people like Country Rain. We know him as a comedian, but he's running a business. And so I went and I listened in on his room, and he's just talking about both his personal life, but also the business aspect of how he kind of grinded his way up to the top. Okay. Those tips are very important for us as a community. You learn a lot about what people have had to endure, because oftentimes we just see what we see before us and we're like, oh man, they made it, but you don't know that background story. And if you sit and really listen to somebody, you'll get to learn some of those things that maybe you could avoid, along your journey as an entrepreneur. I will say this too. This is kind of funny. The other day, Elle Pearson, I was in a group, in a room with Elle, right? And hers was phenomenal. It's a healthcare consulting one, obviously. And so I was in there, and another part about it is when you're in those rooms, especially the smaller rooms, you really, really can connect and follow. Everybody wants to follow each other. Everybody wants to connect with each other and inbox each other and stuff like that. So this particular room had some people that I wasn't aware of, but I love what they were saying. So I instantly went to their profile and I read the profile and I followed them. Afterwards, here's a fun. Afterwards, when we were all done, we left that room and I went to another room. And so this is the room that I went to. Many of you may have known that there was an incident here in Dallas a couple of weeks ago where there was a restaurant owner who got upset about people twerking in his restaurant. Okay. So it's been a huge, it turned into a national firestorm because you have a situation where you have people twerking on his furniture that he's upset about. You have music that's being played that creates that environment, but you also have an owner that came out and he handled it in kind of a questionable way. So from my business eyes, I'm looking at him like, man, maybe there were other ways that you could have handled that. So I saw the room and I entered the room, right? And I'm just sitting there and I'm listening and I'm enjoying the different conversations and different opinions about what was said and what was done and how it could have been handled better. So Elle inboxed me and she said, friend, where are you? She says, I was scrolling through Clubhouse and I see that you're in a room about a business owner upset about a twerking situation. What are you doing? And I was like, I'm called, But I sent her the information and I explained to her why, I'm not being in there. I'm not just in there being ratchet, Sandra. Okay. So you don't have to worry about me being kicked out. Okay.
I may have to send a letter to the owner. I don't know.
You know what I told her? I said, because Elle's brand is wrapped around that kind of the brand itself. Like, how is it that I can go in and clean up this brand, clean up the image of the brand? And so I was like, the owner actually needs you. He's gonna need that kind of cleaning up to be done right now, because right now a lot of people are trashing his brand because of how he handled this situation. He's gonna really need you. But I was dying laughing because she was like, what are you doing? What room are you in? So,
That's cute.
rule of thumb,
Aw.
it shows
I was looking out.
what rooms
So
you're
sweet.
in. It shows that you're in those rooms. So y'all behave on the platform. But again, I wasn't in there just to be in there. I honestly wanted to know, because I think as a business owner, he truly could have handled the situation a little bit differently. And it is something that, again, we can all learn from with things like that. Another point I want to make is about the profile, your profile.
Yes.
So when you start, you go and you fill out your profile and put all your social handles, and you can attach your Twitter and your LinkedIn profile. Some of the rooms that I was in, especially with people who are big business people, business professionals, they make a point about your profile and how it looks. And so I'm actually going to go back in my profile and tweak it and update it a little bit. But there's room to really make it an enticing profile, put call to actions there, put ways that people can get in contact with you easier, make it appealing, so that when you're quote unquote marketing it, because what happens is when people are in these rooms, they're like, hey, go to my profile and you can see this, and this. Or I will hear like a moderator literally say, I just checked out your profile and I saw that you have XYZ on it. It's like a little bitty resume right there. And you can put on there who you are, what you do, what you specialize in, your little elevator pitch or whatever. And I've noticed that a lot of people get a lot of reception just by the way their profile has been constructed. What do y'all think about that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a huge thing. And I'm gonna have to leave. But yeah, they say like your first 3 lines of your profile matter the most, because that's what people see when they're searching. And also, that's actually good room moderation when you're moderating a room and people come to speak. A quick tap on their face to see who the person is, and just kind of glance through and bring stuff out. That's actually a really good moderation tip. But if there is a call to action that you want people to do, and what you're looking for, just put it out there. I mean, people are saying, they're looking to meet blah, blah, blah. They're looking to meet funders or sponsors, or, say what you need. And also like how people can keep in touch with you. Are your DMs open? Some people will say that DMs are open, or they'll say, I'm not really on Twitter, or, they force me to click or something like that. But just make it easy with how people can keep in touch with you. I gotta go, but thank you so much for
joining us.
And I'll be seeing you over at the Clubhouse. I look forward to it.
Appreciate you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah, Miss Sandra, I'm gonna have to pick a bone with you, because you didn't give me a welcome party.
You know what? I didn't get one either, so I don't even know how to go with that. So we are all working this right now, but I would love to give you a welcome party. And since we got everybody here, if you are on Clubhouse, when Miss Elviana comes on, come join us so that we can talk about it. And then that's also a great opportunity to learn how to navigate through that world. Okay, because you're kind of in a safe world with us right at that point in time, but just to bring it so you have an idea of what's going on. So absolutely. So you will have one.
That's hilarious. Yeah, it's just and another thing about social media is obviously our social media presence in our marketing, but I think I'm gonna be like Amelia and really like this, because I don't have to get made up all the time.
Oh my goodness.
Because that's one thing that drives me. It's really not my favorite thing to do. I do it because I want to look presentable to you guys, but getting made up is not my forte. And if I could just turn it on and just talk to people,
absolutely.
I like
that. This introvert at heart is like happy, because I don't have to necessarily always be on camera for everything. So I totally get it, but you still can have your voice involved in it, and you can still listen to what's going on around in there, which is like fabulous to me. So yeah, I totally feel you on that though, because my coronavirus hair, I don't know how many times I can make that mess up in time for you to get on this camera. I tell you.
You should put that on your profile. Like, I am
Like,
great.
so
However, I have coronavirus here.
you know what?
Whoever.
I need to update my profile real quick because it's really true what she says about those first three lines, because
Mhm.
that's as soon as you hit that profile, those first three lines are visible. And then you have the opportunity to hit see more if you want to see more of what's going on. But those first three lines are key. And I'm looking back at mine, I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm gonna have to update that one a little bit. So make it sound like something that you want folks to engage you in with you, like totally with that. That's what it feels so important to me, like right now.
So I think the biggest takeaways from this conversation is just making sure, if you get on, come on, understand it's relatively a professional environment. There are other, like I said, other conversations that are going on, um, more casual type of things, less serious types of things. But overall, you have the ability to either be in front of or connect with pretty powerful people. So understand that. um, leveraging the power of social media and social connections, being able to appropriately come into the room, ask those questions, get what you need, because
Yeah.
they're very willing. I've noticed these people, they're very willing to be helpful and to get you resources, connect
Yes,
you with money makers or like-minded individuals.
absolutely.
A couple of the one rooms that I've been in, the government contracting rooms are fantastic. They are phenomenal. Those rooms and the rooms that I've been in that are kind of more geared towards like building your brand or social media marketing or marketing in general, or just business tips.
Absolutely.
Those rooms have, I mean, literally
Truly
notes,
valuable.
notes, 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 notes,
Yeah,
notes, notes, types of things, and you're not gonna get that really anywhere else. Not to
right.
this magnitude, I don't feel like. And I've had people like Tina. Tina Payne hasn't introduced
Yeah.
me and invited me to come into rooms before. And it's funny because we're in the room and we're enjoying the conversation and we're messaging back and forth like, did you hear that? Oh my gosh, write that down, put that. She's like, no, I'm writing my notes.
Right.
So, and that's something that I will encourage you guys to do. Those of you who are starting to get on it, when you see rooms that would benefit your fellow brothers and sisters here in
Right.
the BNE community, or your friends or whomever, make sure you invite them to the rooms. So Amelia's invited me to rooms, you,
Yep.
Tina, whomever, they've invited me to rooms. And so it's literally not harder than clicking on the app and just listening in to see, is this something that I really want to stay and listen to?
Yeah. And knowing, I agree. So knowing that you have that choice to move around, been involved in rooms that they even create rooms that have the purpose, like the question, they will put the topic of what that room is about as their title. And will say there are some rooms that typically will be targeting, are you looking to create a government contract? Are you looking to find a venture capitalist? These are the things that you would need to know. So they give you some of the strategies, some of those telling points that you would need to know to come across and communicate from a business standpoint with them. So learning their language, giving an avenue for them to share their language with you, and you learn their
Mhm.
language and be able to translate that into your business in terms of value that they're providing to you, the money that you can gain from it. It's awesome to see. And
It
I
is.
totally agree with you. Yeah, and I totally agree with you that it's an avenue where the voices that we would be paying for, like thousands of dollars for, that we can come in and listen to them give all this valuable advice for free.
Mhm, mhm. And make a simple connection. I mean,
Yes.
Les, even yesterday, Les, there was this person, she just started speaking recently.
Yes.
And she came onto the stage and she wanted
Yep.
to ask questions to him about, how do I get better? What do I need to do? And so he gave his input and he says, hey, if you want to connect with me, send an email. And he has a regular old Gmail account like the rest of us, but it was literally Les Brown, blah, 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 at gmail.com. It's like, hey, just send me an email over there and you can connect with me and I will help you. I will do what I can to help you to enter into the speaking world and to do it successfully. And he's like, I've heard people who are speakers who didn't have the proper training. But, you know, I really want to be able to provide you with the proper training so that you're successful. Where are you going to get that at?
Right.
And
To hear
then
that
something,
and
go
hear
ahead.
that from an influencer saying that to you, like one on, I mean, essentially, you know, everybody's in the room, but really one-on-one, he's speaking to you at that point in time. Yeah.
And then I've heard people when they come up to the stage say, like for instance, the Country Wayne one that I was in, they were
Mhm.
like, "Hey brother, nice to connect with you. I'm also a comedian. Do you have any tips for me to get into the business?" So he gives them their tips or whatever. And they say, "Well, I'm located in West California. If you're ever out this way, I would love to get with you. Here's my information, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah." And, you know, I don't know if Country Wayne has time to go to California, even connect to them, but needless to say, you've put that little bug there. So you
Yeah.
never know, A, if Country Wayne is going to be willing to do it at some point, connecting with you,
Right.
but B, you don't know who else is in the room that's listening because
Yeah.
Country Wayne was not the only person that was moderating
Exactly.
that room. His other people, he's got a videographer and content creator and blah blah
Right.
blah. There's 3 or 4 other people in that room too that were helping him. So you don't know who else is in that room that could lead you to something else. It's that networking, it's that connection that's so valuable that so many of us kind of take for granted.
Right.
So that would just and you don't have to, you know, oftentimes when we get in front of people we get scared and we think that we look stupid and you know we're like we don't want to get up there and make a fool of out of ourselves, but nobody can see you anyway, so it
Nope.
doesn't matter.
Nope. They're good to go. So you
It
can get
doesn't.
up there and say what you need to say at that point in time. And it's even if it's just an introduction of yourself and just saying, I just wanted to listen to the advice that you guys are sharing and give the folks their props at that point in time, that opens up a conversation. And that works just as well.
Have you been up on the stage and communicated with people yet?
I have. I've been a few times.
Really?
So I was up in a comedian's room today. So that's where the irony came in, and joined them on stage today. So a couple of folks, some of the comedians that we've known for quite a while, and just listening to them talking about their avenues and things like that and what they're planning to do. I've been in a number of stages that are related to creatives.
Mhm.
And within Clubhouse, there are a lot of creative based rooms up in there. And so, one of the things that, from my piece of advice for folks, is thinking about how your niche may work into their need. Like, that's a big thing to see kind of what's going on because there really is a lot of need out there from what Black nurses can contribute. And so I want to just kind of emphasize that again. Was talking with Les Brown. So when you were mentioning that,
Mhm.
and one of the big things I also want to mention with that is that he follows through. So at the other end of that connection, the email, he is following through with that. So it's not just something left out there for folks. So if you're thinking about that, folks are making those connections. They really are connecting with you. And so having that avenue, not just to be up on stage with them at that point in time, but to talk with them after and hold a conversation or communications after is where you can see this be as powerful as well.
Wow. Hmm. I really, 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 really love your example about because mental health is going to be even bigger after
Yeah.
all of this is said and done. But how you said we could be providing services or solutions to the comedic world. And oftentimes, I don't know if we really take into consideration, comedy oftentimes comes out of pain, out of
Yes,
hurt, frustration, or whatever. It's a coping mechanism.
it is.
And if you listen to a lot of comedians, and I tell people this myself, you know, outside of being I tend to be a comedian sometimes too. And
There
I
you go.
told him, I said, really, to be honest with you and transparency, that part of my personality came from the bullying that I endured in grade school. And my way of thinking was if I can make people laugh and enjoy me, then they wouldn't bully me, you know. And so that's just my personal story. But oftentimes you'll hear comedians say that that nature of their personality came from something traumatic.
Yeah.
And so now here we are, like you say, their industry is going to be affected by this. And here's a niche of people that we don't really think about needing our help. Nobody thinks about a comedian needing a nurse, right? Unless they have a true medical situation. Unless they're bleeding, yes, then they need us. But from a mental health standpoint, that's brilliant. That is brilliant for us to even just get into those conversations. And you know something else? You can spin a topic off of that. You as a nurse can say, hey, this could be the topic of your room. Who out there is struggling during this time? Let's have a conversation.
Absolutely.
How can we support you? Those of you who are into holistic health, mental health, emotional well-being, self-care, those types of people here in this community, here is another avenue for you to get your name out there.
It is. Work-life balance, working online, all of those things right now that everybody, we've been forced into it if you haven't been living in this world already. And so the fatigue that people are experiencing, like Zoom fatigue, for instance, that's a huge one right now. So talking about some of those things and what can you bring to the table for those folks? Because they're looking for that. They truly are.
Even if you are another area that I'm seeing starting to pop up are the cannabis nurses. So if you're a cannabis nurse, please, by all means, hop in here because it's kind of free and open. It's open, wide open. You can hop in here and create that name for yourself. I know Sierra, I've already seen Sierra pop up and I've been following her as well. We have some other cannabis nurses in our community that I'm like, hey, y'all, come on. I need y'all to get in here with me, But really, I think you can literally take you can go to the B&E directory and take every last one of the specialties that we have in there. And you can start a room, start a conversation based upon that. How is it that I get into trucking? How is it that I get into consulting? Or general entrepreneurship. You can do that. Or you can flip it and say, is there anybody out there interested in academia?
Exactly.
These are the steps that you need to take to get into academia.
Yeah, because the value you give in that room is the thing that's going to help not just elevate those around you first and foremost, because that's part of the thing that we want to do is be able to give, but it's going to elevate your world from a business standpoint. Absolutely. So sharing that value and letting them hear your voice and hearing a story is priceless. So one of the things I think it helps me to do as I listen is helping me hone my story as a business individual. When I think about my CTAs or when I think about what my offerings are, and I think about the audiences that we are now reaching out to, how do you share that story that is from your standpoint, but reaches out to them? So to me, I feel like it gives me a chance as that introvert who may not want to be in the forefront talking all the time to talk, but to share and refine that story.
Absolutely. It's a good like mini lead magnet. If you're utilizing it appropriately, it definitely can be, but without being too salesy. That person that's always hounding you to buy their product. It's not about that. As long as you're adding value, people will naturally follow you.
Absolutely.
Good. Very good. Very good. We're topping at an hour, so I'll give you the opportunity. Do you have any final words or final suggestions or anything that you want to add?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just allow yourself to enjoy it. Just enjoy the experience, like really and truly. So, sometimes we tend to stress about, how do I make the sales funnels or some of those things behind the scenes in terms of marketing. All you got to do is talk in this. Listen and talk. That's half the battle with this. And so just come on and listen to what's going on there. Explore. Feel free to explore. They have rooms open 24/7. So there is something to find all the time. And just enjoy the experience. If you see some of your colleagues over there, support them when you can, and vice versa. So bring them along. If you see something that they may be interested in providing value in terms of, like Alviana was saying, just connect them to a room. Hey, let me know about this, that there may be a connections for you. That's wonderful. So just enjoy the experience.
All right. Perfect.
All right.
Perfect. So my last final thing is pretty much what she said. Enjoy the experience and take advantage of it because, it's every so many years where we get the ability to get in on the ground of a new social media platform.
Right.
I missed the TikTok wave.
Yeah,
TikTok
me
was
too.
out and going before. I was like, what in the world are
What
y'all
is
doing
this?
hopping and bouncing around here? And I could have been hopping around in my B&E t-shirt. I don't know, but I'm just saying I missed out on that TikTok wave. But
Yeah,
we're starting to get in on something that's new and just fresh,
it is.
and I don't even know if the owners meant for it to be this big conference of business people, but I kind of feel like it's nice to get in there and see the Black prosperity. I cannot,
Oh,
um,
yeah.
I just cannot
It's like a
mention that enough.
digital Black Wall Street up in here. That's what it
Yeah,
just
it
is.
is.
I mean, really and truly, it's like a Black Wall Street up in here, and the voices from the street in terms of that is powerful. It's awesome, and you have access.
Yep.
You can't say much more than it. To have access to that is it's wonderful.
And then they're so willing, so
Yeah,
appreciative, so open. I've never been in an environment where these top people are so receptive to communicating back and forth with you and answering your questions and things and providing you with help. And one thing about it is those people, especially like the government contracting rooms that
mhm,
I've been in, you see their names, you see their faces, you become familiar with them, and then you start seeing them in other rooms. So you start following their trends and following
um,
the people, and they manage up each other too. And it's
yes,
like, oh, so and so came in a room. You need to connect with her because she's really good at this, and this. And
absolutely.
so, that's also a vision of mine for our community. When I see you guys popping in and out of my room or somebody, Amelia's or your room or whatever,
Mhm,
we have to manage each other up and support one another. Say, hey, if anybody out there is wanting to launch their own app, this lady right here is your girl. Get a hold of Sandra Cleveland because this is her area. This is her specialty. And if you notice, apps apps are a big thing right now. So,
yeah,
but yeah, just enjoy the ride and take advantage of it. It is something that I can almost guarantee you, if you work it and work it appropriately, it will help your business to grow. And so you'll be seeing me. I am going to start opening up rooms. And one thing I want to do is invite you guys because tomorrow night we'll drop the link in the group. But tomorrow night, actually, Amelia and I will be in a room together. So it's one of our first rooms. Well, mine, maybe not hers, but mine for sure. And so I'll drop the link in our group so you guys can follow us. Those of you that are already on the app, come by, stop by, say hello. But we will be working on trying to get more and more people involved in it because and I'm not here to sell the app. That's not what I'm doing necessarily. I'm here to provide you another resource to make your business profitable, but also to get you that visibility that we all kind of need. So just another avenue to do that. And
absolutely.
do you want to drop any handles or how they can follow you?
Oh, thank you. But Tribe Consulting. So on my app, you can hit me up on www.tribeconsultingdigital.com. And
Okay.
so that's the way you can hit me up via my app or my services. LinkedIn. I'm also on LinkedIn, so you can follow me on that, Dr. Sandra Cleveland, as well as on Facebook at Tribe Consulting LLC. So you can reach out to me that way. But I want to say before we leave
Mhm.
that for those of you who are not active in BNE, you're here but not active, take and use the knowledge that Albiana has been giving to folks and the avenues that she has been providing. Because honestly, having this platform in the first place for us Black nurses to be who we are authentically and be able to share our full powers and our crowns is awesome. So thank you for that. I just wanted to say that.
Thank you. I appreciate you, and I appreciate our community. That's it for now. If I can, I hope and plan on uploading this so that people can hear and see us in other avenues of our social media. Again, Black Nurse Entrepreneurs, we're across all the social media platforms. Make sure that you're following us. Facebook group, Facebook page, Instagram, LinkedIn, but now make sure you go to our website. Make sure you download our app as well. There's more to come with things like that. Good night to everybody. I hope to see you. I look forward to seeing you all on Clubhouse too. Okay. So bye-bye for now. Have a good evening.